Welcome, everybody, to the R&R CatCast, a fan-based podcast focusing on Montana State athletics. We're two dudes named Ryan from the state of Washington talking about our dear Montana State. We hope you enjoy. All right, welcome back, Bobcat fans. Thanks for joining us on another episode of the R&R CatCast. I'm one of your hosts, Ryan Foley. I'm joined with my good buddy and my co-host, Ryan Thornburg. We are the Ryans of the R&R, the Montana State affiliate of the Big Sky Podcast Network. And we want to give a shout out to our sweet sponsor, Gear Up Sports, a youth sports platform focused on solving the uniform and apparel headache for coaches. You're a youth or high school coach and need uniforms and player packs. Please contact them at www.gearupwithus.com and make sure to mention the R&R CatCast. This to boot, they are a Bobcat-owned company. We're here to talk a little bit about the game homecoming. We beat the Battling Bears. Northern Colorado put a whoop down on them, 55-17. And now we're going to preview the game. Idaho coming to town. ESPN, 8:15 at night. Top 10 matchup. I can't wait, man. Thorny, how are you doing, buddy?
Doing great. I feel like this will be the first time we might actually spend more time talking about the game preview and our opponent than our recap. We've been just like glossing over our next opponent the last few weeks, it seems, because it's like, yeah, who wants to talk about Mercyhurst? Meh. Who wants to talk about Northern Colorado? It's like, whatever, right? But now, you know, this is a big deal. It's a big time game.
Yeah, it's one that has been circled on my calendar for, well, ever since I went to the Kiwi Dome last year and had the worst possible experience of my life.
That's right.
He's down. For multiple reasons that day. It was a bad day. Ended in COVID. I got COVID that day. That was just the cherry on top.
There you go, the kicker. Man.
All right. Well, welcome. If you are new to the R&R, thanks for joining us. What we do in this episode, we're going to go down some news. We'll talk about the FCS stats. We'll go into Coach Vigen's press conference. We'll do the stats recap from the game that was the homecoming game against Northern Colorado. And then we're going to preview the Idaho game, as well as talk about some Golden Coolies and answer some questions from the fans.
All right, let's dig into it, man.
All right, but first, get on that horse. Let's talk about what's in our Golden Coolie.
What's in your Golden Coolie?
You want to go first? You mentioned something that makes me curious now.
Well, you got to mention our sponsor there, Thorny.
Gosh darn. All right. What's in your Golden Coolie is brought to you by Wilbur Ellis. Go see Shea Richter and Company up in Fort Benton for all your farming and fertilizer needs.
Okay.
My apologies there. Twice it's happened
Shea.
now. Yeah. But we're here. We got it done. Got the ad read.
Right.
We did it.
I have mixed feelings. I really do. I feel like I put myself in a pickle getting this beer. I went to the store, the one-off store. It's kind of a bougie little cafe store where you can buy beer. It's close to my school. Anyways, I got a Oktoberfest from Sierra Nevada. That sounds just fine, and I did not think about this, but Thorny, look at the can. It is Vandal colors. It's like a Charlie Brown t-shirt. It looks like brown.
Hold on, I gotta zoom in. I got
black
you so
and
small.
gold.
Oh, there it is.
Ooh, I'm like, how? I picked this up. It's like, how did I not think about this? Is this bad luck? I feel I painted myself into the corner. Certainly a bad quagmire. I don't know what to do.
Well,
I'll drink to it though.
You know what I think? I think two wrongs make a right. Because look at my beer.
Oh, are you kidding?
Super black and gold. It's funny. I didn't think about it either until I was cracking it tonight. I'm like, wait a minute. I picked out this beer specifically for this episode, and now I'm looking at it. It's like the total Vandal colors here.
Oh man!
So I don't know what we've done.
What
have we done, Foley? We've either helped the Bobcats win or lose. There's no guarantee. We've influenced the game in one direction, I don't think that's in question. But this is called Crispy Town by Rubens Brewing, which is at least a Washington brewery. But at least it's a local-ish. It's in Ballard. It's just an American lager. It's pretty good, man. I've never had it before. Just Crispy Town sounded like something perfect for the game for the preview episode, but yeah, I didn't really pay attention to the colors of it, I guess.
I mean, I like your thought. Two negatives make a positive in this.
Yes.
Hopefully that. I do have my my backup beer is another Sierra Nevada, the Pale Ale. It's my celebration beer. So I don't know, man. It's just, what kind of math are we dealing with here? I'm
We've
not
put
sure.
something out in the universe. That's for sure.
This calculus is too much for me. Okay.
Superstition math is way different than regular math.
Absolutely. Okay, before we get into the presser, we'll talk about the FCS football rankings, the top 25. But again, Thorny, I'm not on socials. Was there any news that came out? Any awards? I did not see that Montana State had.
Not football related. I did see a volleyball player got Big Sky Conference Player of the Week.
Oh,
I
that's
just
cool.
saw that in passing, and of course, I don't even know who it was. So good news segment, but
Did check up on the volleyball team. They're not doing too hot.
no, I've been kind of seeing the feeds come through, the tweets. I'm like, yeah, it seems like we're losing a lot more than we're winning at the moment.
Yeah.
Defensive Player of the Week was Jordan Raddick from MSU.
There you
So
go.
congratulations.
Good job, Jordan.
Oh, and the offensive player was I don't know how to say her name, Jordan Camps. So I don't know how many awards go out to volleyball players. Is there just an offensive and defensive? There's no like special teams, right? Just must be two. Must be two. So is that a sweep? Do we sweep the awards?
Is it
If
just
so,
Big Sky
congrats.
related?
What's that?
Big Sky Conference?
Yeah, Big Sky Conference Player of the Week.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, let's talk about the FCS stats top 25. Montana State staying at number 3. Only thing we had 8 place votes, 8 first place votes. We only have 6 this time around.
We're slowly
Idaho.
losing votes, I feel.
I know. Well, it feels like South Dakota State, who was on Idaho last week, I do believe, they gained more. They had like 36. North Dakota State had an impressive win over North Dakota. And so I think they got a couple of the votes. So
that's
good on them.
Yeah, that's fair to transfer votes in that situation. I'm not upset about that.
Interesting thing, Montana State's the only 6-0 team that I see in the rankings. Let's see. Idaho comes in at 7. They were number 10, so top 10 matchup, like I said in the intro. Montana drops from number 8 down to number 14. Sac State drops from 17 to 18. Weber State goes from not ranked up to 20.
Weber State just keeps ping-ponging out of the rankings and back into the rankings.
Yeah. And then Northern Arizona, they were 25. They go up to number 24.
Nothing like going up
25.
Nothing like going up after a loss. Good job, NAU.
Yeah.
How's that work?
There's some calculus there too. So,
did you say Sac State?
Yeah, Sac State's number 18.
Yep. I can remember if I heard you say that or not.
Well,
there
what do
you
you
go.
think about Sac State, man?
Yeah, I don't know what to think about the Big Sky Conference in general.
Yeah. I was looking at the power rankings today. Normally, I put out that poll on Bobcat Nation. I don't even know how I'd approach it. Like, I tend to look at the Massey ratings and then kind of go off of that and then go off my gut. I think top 4. Let's go top 4 off the top of our heads. You go first.
MSU obviously clear number 1. Gee, I don't even know.
Exactly, right?
Idaho number 2. I think that's pretty good there. Yeah, then what is it? Weber and NAU in different order? Either
is
or.
Davis in there?
Yeah, I forgot about Davis. Okay, so yeah, I put Davis 3rd. They didn't look all that good this weekend either.
Ooh. I skipped Davis, man. Davis is number 6. I don't know how I skipped those guys. They are ahead of Idaho right now. They were number 9 last week.
Yeah, so MSU, Idaho, Davis, and then for number 4, I'll probably put Sac, I guess. Ugh, no.
Whoa. I was
I
gonna
don't know,
go
man. It's a hard one.
maybe NAU. They seem to be it's tough. Tough. All right. Yeah, see, that's why I stayed away from it. It just
It's
feels too hard.
Yeah, you can only come up with the top 3 teams right now, and the rest of it's just like throwing darts. So that just kind of tells you where the conference is right now.
Grizz could be top 4.
It could.
Yeah.
I wouldn't rule them out, but they're not right now.
Yeah. All right. Okay, well, let's get into the presser. Talk about what Coach Vegan wore.
And now, Bobcat fans, it's time for F&F Fashion Watch, brought to you by Foley and Fisher, the only two that seem to really care what Brent Vegan is wearing at his press conference.
That's right. Coach donned his navy suit with a gray heathered checkered pattern, a white press shirt with a Pacific blue tie, no pocket square.
Nice. Oh, I forgot. I was waiting for you to do the thing that we talked about, but then we decided not to do it right now. So I was just sitting there waiting. All right, I didn't have a chance to watch or listen to a second of this one. So,
well, in his typical fashion, he comes out and gives a rundown of Northern Colorado and everything that's good in the program, and then he talks a little bit about Idaho. One thing I took from him, he kind of called out the fans a little bit. He says, it's going to be 8:15 kickoff, but we need you in for the long haul. He goes, don't underestimate how much difference you can make as a fan, especially students in the third quarter. And I think he was lamenting a little bit the lack of participation after we're like blowing these guys out, this cupcake schedule we've had. And, maybe a third of the students are gone, partying, tailgating a little bit, maybe some MSU fans who are exiting early. So it was kind of interesting because I never heard him say anything like that. He wasn't forceful with it. He does it in his Midwest nice way, but he definitely called out the fans.
I don't know. I didn't hear it, so I'm just going off what you just said. Doesn't really sound like a call out to me. He just, hey, it's going to be late. Let's make sure we're back in the seats. Stick around. By the time the second half rolls around, it's going to be 10 p.m. It's pretty
Give
late.
props to Idaho. Yep, he said, Idaho is they're giving up less than 20 points per game, less than 100 yards for rushing. They have 19 sacks. He talked a little bit about the always the injury front. Question on Caden Dowler. He says doubtful, but Drew Paldor is going to play a limited amount of snaps in this game. So
Yeah.
if Caden goes out, Drew Paldor kind of comes back in. And so it sucks for Caden, but fortuitous timing, I suppose. He did confirm our nose guard, Blake Schmidt, being out for the season with ACL. And I think somebody asked, he was like, well, we saw him standing without, too much issue, clothes on, not a big brace or something, maybe not even a brace. And he's like, well, that's kind of the nature of the ACLs is you can walk and do a lot of things, but you need to have the surgery before or risk like further injury on that. So Blake Schmidt, he did say he's going to have a concentrated leadership role, a continued leadership role with the team, which is pretty cool, I suppose.
So is he done? Is his career over then?
I think so. Yeah.
Did he redshirt?
I think it is.
Does he have a COVID
Not
year?
Sure. He did. He went on to talk a little bit more about Idaho. He said we have to look back and see how they attacked us last year. He did note that this is the first team we've played who's had a consistent coach from last year. I didn't know that. That was an interesting point.
Whoa, that's crazy, actually.
Yeah, he says we have to be better on first and second down. Our last game we were in Idaho, he said our first 3 series were 3 and outs. He says we have to start faster on that. And then he fielded a couple questions from Coulter and talked about the defensive line play for the Vandals, and Coach just went on to say, they don't have a lot of transfers, that they've developed their players and that they're doing a good job. And he echoed kind of what we talked about on Saturday, that Idaho plays an electric style football, and they have, they play with their hair on fire. They run to the ball well, and they're physical. And so, I mean, he's juiced for the game. I think Montana State's taking this game in like a revenge factor kind of mentality, and that's kind of what I picked up from Coach.
That's what I like to hear. Do you believe in revenge games motivation? Is that something that really can help teams win or not?
It's funny you say that, because I had a buyer sell exactly like that. I do. I think I do believe in it. You listen to Ty McCullough, if you listen to Alex Eckert, I do believe Tommy Millott all mentioned it. They believe in it.
I think motivation can come from anywhere. And I think to say that things like that don't matter, I think is wrong. I don't know how much it matters, but yeah, it matters. Maybe it wears off in the first quarter or something. Like, hey, you juiced up, more juiced up than normal. Then you come out and play some football and things kind of settle back in. But it matters at the very least initially, but I think it matters kind of all game. So I think it's a big thing. I think we saw that with North Dakota State destroying North Dakota, because North Dakota beat the crap out of them last year, and I think that weighed heavy on the Bison players' minds.
Absolutely. I think this was like a turning point last year for our team, and something went wrong.
The bad turning point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was chemistry on the sidelines. It was coaching. It was belief. It was all of it. Just kind of ran into a head at that game, and then we were never the same after that. So I think Montana State's looking at this as a way to affirm a new narrative for the program. Affirm that they are a top 5 team, top 3 team, and affirm that last year was last year, and that's behind them. The old stuff that was bringing the Cats down, it's not bringing the Cats down anymore.
No, we'll find out. And we'll talk more about this game a little bit. You want to pivot, get the stats out of the way? Talk about North Colorado?
Let's do it.
Before we dive too far down into Vandal Land.
Vandal Land. Drinking Vandal beer.
Drinking Vandal-colored beers.
Gosh, man.
Praising the Vandals.
Hopefully there's not a hex that we just put on this game.
R&R Vandalcast. Okay. Bobcats win homecoming against Northern Colorado, battling, rambling, fighting Bears, 55-17. Stats will be a little bit interesting because, as usual, or a lot of these games have gone. We pull out starters and second string. It's different. All right, the Cats in about 21 first downs, just to 20 for the Bears. Cats are 5 for 12 on third down, so not great there, less than 50%. But the Bears were just 4 of 14. UNC was 1-on-1, 1-for-1 on fourth down. So comically, yet again, the Cats can't stop anybody on fourth down. I wonder what's the percentage against the Cats. We have to look that up because it has to be not.
I
good.
have it.
You have it. Have we stopped anybody? Yep. Our team's like 9 for 10 on us.
We're 10th in the conference. Opponents have a 72% completion rate fourth down. They're 8 for 11 right now.
8 for 11, yeah. 9 for 10 is what I said, so not too far off. Oh, that's bad. We were 3 for 3. How about that? All right.
That's the first.
Cats, 510 yards of total offense, 278 through the air on 11 of 16 passing for 17.4 yards per pass. That's a pretty good stat. 232 yards on the ground, which I'm assuming is a season low. 48 attempts on 4.8 yards per carry. The Bears had 261 yards of total offense. 362 yards of total offense, 261 through the air on 18 of 30 passing for 8.7 yards per pass. They did throw an interception. Led to Danny Yu. Rushing 101 yards for the Bears on 38 carries for just 2.7 yards per carry. Bears had 1 penalty for 5 yards. The Cats had 6 for 57. Penalties continue to be a bit of a bugaboo for the Cats. 3 turnovers for the Bears, 2 fumbles lost and an interception thrown, and the Cats turned the ball over once on a fumble. And time possession, the Bobcats, 34 minutes and 40 seconds to 25 minutes and 20 seconds for Northern Colorado.
The Bears punted 7 times for 321 yards. Montana State punted 4 times for 200. In the red zone, the Bears were 2 for 3, and the Cats were 5 for 5. So that's nice. The Bears had 0 sacks, and Montana State had 2 for 15. And the Bears were 1 for 1 on field goals, where we did not attempt a field goal in this game. Looking at some individuals, Tommy was 8 for 12 passing, 225 yards with 4 touchdowns with a long of 72. He had 5 rushes for 37 yards with 1 touchdown. Crafty. Tommy Malot's picking his spots this year, and gosh, he's playing really good. Just sidebar, quick there. Ty McCullough, he was 1 for 1 with 34-yard touchdown pass. That's his passing stat.
Love it.
He had 2 catches for 61 yards with another touchdown. Chance Wilson apparently had 3 attempts. He completed 2 of them for 19 yards. Just thought I'd throw that in there. Scotty Humphrey had 10 catches 10 carries for 81 yards. The long of 43. Colston Kuhn had 9 touches for 45. Adam Jones was 12 for 42 with a long of 12. Taco Dowler had 7 returns for 120 yards. He had 2 catches for 106 yards, 2 touchdowns with a long of 72. That might be Taco's biggest day. Aiden Garrigan had 1 catch for 56 yards, which was a beautiful pass over the middle from Tommy Malott. Ryan Lonergan had 2 catches for 25 yards, 1 touchdown with a long of 16. Brennan Hall had 4 punts for 200 yards. He flipped the field on a beautiful 64-yard punt that was just unbelievable. I don't know if you caught that one, Thorny, but it absolutely turned the field. He had 3 inside the 20. Some defensive stats. Danny Yu had 2 solo, 8 total, 1 tackle for a loss, 1 interception. Mikhail Riley, 5 solo, 10 total, 1 tackle for a loss, 1 sack. Tyson Pottinger had 4 solo, 1 tackle for a loss. Brody Greeby, 2 solo, 3 total, 1 tackle for a loss, 1 sack. And then I'm going to give props to one of Great Falls' finest, Ryan Cray. 1 solo, 1 total. There was your first fumble we couldn't remember on Saturday. And Miles Jackson also had a tackle for a loss for 8 yards. Blew up the play behind the line of scrimmage. Was a beautiful tackle. A little bit for the Battling Bears. Keone, their quarterback, 17 for 29, 247 yards, 1 touchdown, and 1 interception. There are your stats.
There it is. That means it's officially done. The stats.
New feature. I got a dinger bell.
Yep. It happened. It's going to keep happening. Signals the end of the stats segment. I like it.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, where do we want to talk about this football game?
I mean,
what was your single biggest takeaway? Let's start there.
Okay, that's a better question. Give me a more pointed question.
What do you want to talk about?
My brain.
We've gotten in trouble in the past on this. Like, just too vague. What's your biggest takeaway? That narrows it down a little.
Biggest takeaway? The defense continues to be dominant. I think their first team defense is the real deal. I like these. They just seem to play with more energy, more collective cohesion, just different looks too. Even with Blake Schmidt out, I don't feel like we're relying on just 4-man pressure a lot. Sometimes we're bringing in pressure from the outside, the inside. We're lining up Brody Greeby as a linebacker. Sometimes it's fun to watch. I think, Bobby Daly has his fingers all over this now in full control, and I just like it. So that's my biggest takeaway. That, and I think Tommy Malott is the best version of himself I've seen at this moment in time. His progressions as a passer and as a runner, a smart runner, he's the total leader out there, and I feel totally comfortable with Tommy Malott.
No, he's in command of the offense right now. It's clear it's his show. He's making good decisions, and he's still got the wheels. I just keep waiting for him to break a big one. But he was real close. They got tripped up at the last second by a defender on Saturday. To piggyback off.
Go ahead. I was just gonna say he's rushing for like 6 times a game. I heard that somewhere today, and that's a good thing for Montana State. We don't want him taking the ball 10, 12,
No.
15 touches. That's gonna get him hurt.
And it seems the stuff that he is doing is almost more designed runs here and there too.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like when he has the option to pass or hand the ball off, he seems to be passing or handing the ball off more often than not.
Yeah.
On the RPOs and the zone reads. To piggyback a little bit off your comment about the defense, I've been really impressed with the cornerbacks' physicality. In Northern Colorado, it seemed like it even went up another notch. Like you said, Miles Jackson blew a play up. I think it was one early in the game when he ran around a defender. It was like a screen pass, and he just blew the play up and tackled the guy immediately. He was fired up, man. They're up there. They're jamming wide receivers. They're laying the wood. They're tackling well. I think the corners are playing pretty well right now. I mean, the coverage, and especially, I think the Cats' biggest weakness right now is actually, it still seems to be some communication issues. I didn't see any against Northern Colorado necessarily, but there's some blown coverages every now and again still. I think it's communication. I didn't see so much in Northern Colorado, though. So, but overall, just the physicality of the secondary, I've been pretty impressed.
They're giving up size every week, so they have to play physical.
Why do we keep going up against like 6'6", 7 guys? That one that they threw that to there was a pass over on the sideline.
Cheeks?
Yeah, Cheeks. There's 2 Cheeks on the team, which the jokes write themselves. You have 2 Cheeks wide left, but there's a lot you can do with that. I was just laughing about that. I was looking at the stats a few minutes ago. But yeah, it was like Rylan Ort and like, I don't know, it was Woodard or somebody. They both like just jumped up there and just, they're not 6'7". That's all that was. That's really, is a well-placed ball. The guy came down with it. What are you going to do? 2 guys right on there fighting him, both in position. The guy's 6'7", 245.
That's a good point. You're right. I mean, he couldn't have done anything. And it was a perfectly placed ball because if it's a foot lower, it's batted down or intercepted. Yeah, man. Good observation on that. Another thing Montana State's doing really well right now is the return game. Maybe that's the hats off to Coach Udy because I wasn't terribly impressed with special teams last year. Special teams have been way more consistent, but the return game, punt and kickoffs. Although we haven't had many times to return a kickoff, but definitely punts. Taco Dowler.
Yeah.
He's been the man.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's gotten tackled by the punter quite a few times, and he kind of joked about that. He's like, maybe Coach Udy should scheme that up where we're actually blocking the punter.
Somebody blocked this guy, all right?
Yeah.
2 weeks in a row, according to the broadcast, according to Tiger Egg, I think.
It's so fun / like, I can't believe he just fielded the ball that way. Watching Taco catch the ball because he does the Willie Mays over the shoulder catch.
Mm-hmm.
So often. And I think he does it intentionally to take like 2-3 steps back, and then he like kind of pirouettes and circles around and then sets everything up. It's almost like he's giving himself like a 5-yard buffer before he moves forward.
A little bit of deception, right?
Mm-hmm.
Catch it on the run, go in the other direction. Which way am I going to go?
I love what he said in a press conference recently. He's like, I just catch the ball and then it's just like schoolyard football. I just get to run around. That's literally how he's thinking about it out there. He's like, yep, I just get to make you miss.
What sort of looks like? It looks like he's not even trying. It's effortless for him. Catching the ball, making cuts. Like he just looks smooth and like was born to return punts.
Oh, gosh. Can you imagine actually trying to do that? And catching it and then being like, oh crap. What do I do?
Yeah. I mean, it might be okay if you give me like that 10, 15-yard cushion, but a lot of times those guys are like, you catch the ball, you got about 1 second before they're going to get crushed.
Yeah. And Montana State's really close to blocking a lot. Sometimes we bring pressure and it looks good. We blocked 2 this year.
Yeah.
So, yeah, special teams, man.
Yep.
Spot.
Special teams was good again against the Bears. I mean, did you say, and I didn't see this, did Taco have one called back?
He did. He housed a kickoff.
It must have been the second half. So disclaimer here, I did have a chance to rewatch. I watched about the first first half and a little bit of the third quarter today, but I didn't actually catch the game live. So I caught the first half and then a little bit of the third quarter, and I didn't see that penalty for that play.
I want to talk a little bit more about Tommy Mellott. One thing I didn't know about Tommy, and I just wanted your take on it. So last week, the play action was wide open. It seemed like we were calling plays like that pass to Garrigan. That was a Sean Chambers special. I wouldn't be surprised if Sean Chambers was like, hey, this is the play, guys. Let's do it now. And we saw Sean Chambers just feast on those. Tommy is starting to see the field better from my eyes, just a fan's eyes. But to me, he does his best passing when he moves the pocket. And I don't see Montana State designing that for him.
Yeah, not a lot of rollouts.
Mm-hmm.
You think that would benefit him too? Because I agree. This is probably the best version of Tommy I've seen. And I'm looking at the stats. I'm like, has he thrown an interception? No, he has not. He's 12 touchdowns, 0 interceptions on the year so far.
And how many yards does he have right now?
He's at 1,082, which is more than last year. Now, granted,
combined?
Yeah,
already?
Yeah, well, he was hurt parts of last year too.
Oh yeah, that's right.
So he's got 4 more completions and 4 less attempts than this exact all of last year right now.
Mm-hmm.
He has a 182.2 rating. Last year was 162.8. 2022 was 140.1. So yeah, he's gone up the last 3 years every year. His rating, his completion percentage is up to 68.7. His average is 9.84, which is a career high. He only had 10 touchdowns last year. He's already got 12. So pretty impressive stuff from Tommy this year. And you see him getting better too throughout the season, even getting a bit more comfortable in the pocket. I think he still bails quicker than he needs to sometimes, but I mean, these are smaller nitpicking things at this point.
As long as he stays healthy, man, I think that's the biggest thing, because now I'm starting to worry just a little bit about the run game. And I think going forward, Montana State's success won't be as predicated on having those 300 to 400 yard rushing totals as we've seen in the past. We're going to have a more balanced approach to win. You can't deny guys like Ty McCullough, Junior Alexander, Ryan King. Those guys on the outside, when they catch the ball, they're big, bad, fast dudes who make plays. And it's almost like discovering a toy that's really cool. And you're like, oh man, I haven't played with this for a while. I'm gonna start like spending some time with this. It's like dusting off the old Playboy Game Boy. Oh my gosh, there's a slip right there.
Nicely done.
And putting in Mario all of a sudden, or NBA Jam, you're like, man, I haven't looked at this in a while. That's why I feel my receivers in the passing game feel like, to me, for Montana State, it's like, ooh, we're just kind of like just tipping the iceberg a little bit of like what's actually available to us.
Well, we saw a lot more on Saturday going into the playbook in terms of getting the tight ends involved. I had mentioned that in my good category from the instant reaction show, that the playbook opened up a little bit, but after rewatching the first half, it opened up a lot more than I even realized too. There were some really nice creative plays getting the tight ends wide open. Like, the passing game was humming a little bit, making easy throws. Like, when's the last time you saw such a wide open touchdown pass for the Bobcats? That one to I don't even know who it was, but it was such a beautiful drawn play where the tight end slipped late and it was just standing there.
I think there's Lonergan.
I think it was Lonergan. He was like literally just standing in place as the ball was in the air, and she's like, just catches it. Nobody within 15 yards of him.
To be for sure, like, UNC's secondary had some issues.
They did. Absolutely. They had some communication, some blown coverages, but you can't make a team blow a coverage if you're still not doing some creative things here and there. So I think it's just good. Like that touchdown pass to Orhan Jones, it was a nice play calling effort, I thought, by Tyler Walker. Because what
Tommy taking the 3, 4, 5-step drop on the play action, sitting in the pocket and firing a missile down the middle of the field, hitting a streaking Garrigan who was double covered. Just put it right in his, in the numbers.
Mm-hmm.
That was beauty. That was absolute beauty. And it was something we got used to seeing Chambers, but we've seen Tommy miss that throw, overlead him.
Yeah.
You name it. But he put it on him. And that was the most exciting play of the game for me.
I would agree with that. Like, I haven't seen one of these running quarterbacks that we like to have for the last 7 years, 8 years. Those are passes that didn't happen too much.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that's kind of scratching the surface. I hope we see more of that. I think we need to see more of that, especially against Idaho.
I finished my Vandal beer. To be honest, it wasn't all that great. So there you go, Sierra Nevada. Your Oktoberfest isn't that great. And the can, well, I don't think I would have thought two craps about the can if I hadn't thought more about it because of the R&R
It's
Catcast
stupid and
tonight.
ugly can.
Yeah.
And your beer is bad.
Stupid can.
They're not
Here
they're
you
not
go.
going to be a sponsor anytime soon.
Jeez.
Stupid ugly can, and the beer's terrible also. Mine's pretty good. The Crispy Town, I like it.
I'd get it again.
I'm not sure it's any better than like I don't know. It's a microbrew that costs what do they cost, like $14 now for a 6-pack out here? I don't know if I'd do that again.
Wow. That's a lot. They're like
It's about how much stuff costs out here, man.
Yeah.
It's painful.
All right. Can we talk Sac State? Or not Sac State,
No,
but
let's not talk about a team
Idaho.
that we're not playing.
talk Idaho.
Is there anything else we want to talk about this game? That was a pretty short little hitter. We didn't even really talk about the game. We mostly talked about how we feel about the Bobcats at the moment.
Well, do you have any pointed questions for me? Because I feel like we hit it on the instant reaction show.
Yeah.
I mean, it's Northern Colorado. I feel for them. I really do. Like when we beat a team like that, you're like, ah. I mean, it would just be best if we're not playing Northern Colorado in perpetuity in the future.
Yeah.
Let's just put it that way.
Okay. I mean, there was the things that I did see on the game that I didn't like was the last 2 drives in Northern Colorado had right before halftime were both really nice drives, and they were kind of moving the ball a little bit.
Hitting the seams.
And then one of them ended with a snap over their quarterback's head, and the other one they actually completed a really nice pass down to like the 3-yard line, and there was a penalty that I didn't hear on TV. It must have been holding, but they moved it back, and then Northern Colorado couldn't finish it out. So they had like 2 really solid drives, and I think the third quarter they had a nice drive to start off this third quarter too. So I don't know. There was a spell there where they were moving the ball a little bit, running the ball and throwing the ball pretty easily, and it was like, the starters were still in at that point.
No, they weren't. Some of them, like, there was a lot of depth on the field at that point.
With 6 minutes left in the first half?
Oh, in the first half. I thought you were talking at the very end. Yeah. They got a little bit of momentum, didn't they?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they shot themselves on the foot with the errant snap. But they were moving the ball. So, I mean, those are the things that, you tell yourself the defense is really good this year, and you see little pockets of that, and that's the kind of stuff that, like, gives you the flashbacks, right? Like, those are the same problems as last year. They're on a much smaller scale, and they pop up much less often. But, like, are they still deep down dwelling somewhere, and some team's going to come along and expose it?
Yeah.
And is that team going to be Idaho? That's a good transition.
Yep. It's what they did to us last year.
Exactly what they
sustained. They had a 41-27. They possessed the ball for 41 minutes and 27 seconds last year.
It's crazy.
They were 3 for 4 on 4th down against us. And they did exactly that. They moved the ball on 1st and 2nd down, and then were quick little hitches, quick passes, and I think they averaged. I was looking at the box score today, like 4.7 yards per play. If you look at our per play, we were like 7 or something like that. So ostensibly bigger. But they possessed the ball for like 41 minutes. We only had the ball for 18 minutes and 33 seconds. If you can hit quick passes on Montana State's defense, that's where we struggle. And it has been for a long time.
Yep, and I'm not
Because
sure.
Montana State tries to bring 4. That's what happens. And then the way we were covering Thorny, we were bailing a lot. But I don't see that as much this year.
No.
So I feel like we're playing a little bit tighter coverage, and I think that's probably why you're impressed with our cornerbacks, because you're getting more pass breakups and being more physical. With last year's regime, the corners were bailing in the cover 3, and then those seam routes were open. So
It seems like we're trusting the corners a little bit more this year.
I'd agree with that.
And I think they're stepping up to the challenge.
Yeah.
The only time that anyone really gets beat real bad is, again, those blown coverages or the soft kind of zones over the middle when we're only rushing 4. And I don't know, it seems to be the kind of the only real problems the Cats have on defense.
The bend but don't break defense is something you and I think, just don't jive with.
You know, I'm jealous of the way the Vandals play defense is fun. Like, that's kind of the offense, or that's the defense I would like to have, right? They're physical, they're nasty, they dominate the line of scrimmage, and they get after the quarterback, and they're not bending. They're just saying, we're going to strain out you all game long.
Yep.
And the Cats have a lot of that this year. They have a lot of that DNA, I think, which is good.
Mm-hmm.
But the Vandals are like kind of the where you totally want to be, I think, a little bit. I like the way they play.
Talking to Mr. Crotcher today. He came in the room. It's the game week. He goes to all the games. He'll be there. Unfortunately, I won't. I mixed up my weekends, and there's my wife has something going on this weekend, and I won't be able to make it out to Bozeman. It makes me super sad. But we were talking about the defense. His son, like I mentioned last week, he plays on the defensive line, and they've been getting. Hey, there's your timer.
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and go turn that off right now. It happens every single
Monday,
week, every Monday. It happens every night too. It's funny. It's something I don't even do anymore. I just keep forgetting to do it. All
right. Yeah, he was talking about that how they roll like 11 guys on the defensive line. And Coach Vegan talked a little bit about that. He's like, yeah, that's kind of like what we do as well. So I think Montana State and Idaho kind of have some similarities as far as how they're approaching defense this year. And I don't think I could say that last year.
No, I agree.
Mm-hmm.
So Idaho, very good run defense. I'm very curious to see how the Cats' offensive or the rushing attack kind of stacks up. And
buy or sell, Montana State has more than 200 yards rushing.
I'll buy it.
All right.
I think that's a little bit lower than I would have put it, maybe.
250?
I mean, I put a buy or sell at like 225.
Okay.
Because we'll actually
under 240.
We'll be doing our thing the whole time for once. We haven't had like a full game of the offense, the whole team since New Mexico.
Dude, so I'm just going to state it right now. You talked about this last week, the intangibles. I think the revenge factor, the night game, although nobody really wants to wait around for 8:15, but it's on ESPN.
There'll be a lot of full throat fans to my Jeff Jodism.
Do you remember last year playing Sac State? We won 42-30, but they scored like at the very end. We just rolled Sac State. That was the week before we went to Idaho. Ty McCullough said he's like, we thought we were big men after winning Sac State, and that was a little bit of a error on our part. And Thorny, I think there's an elixir going on Saturday. I think this game since last year when we lost. So like, can't wait for this. Montana State's going to be juiced. I don't predict wins or anything. You know, we don't do that. But I'm just saying, I think the revenge factor, it being underneath the lights, 22,000 people, full throat. Let's go. Bring it, bud. Woo! Give it to me. Give it to me.
All right. We agreed for that bell for the stat segment. If that bell starts popping up randomly throughout the episodes, I'm gonna confiscate it. I'm gonna come and take it from you like a teacher.
Spokane and take it from my cold hands.
If that thing just starts dinging all day long.
I got hyped.
So is this one of those games, Foley? You like to say this. This isn't predicting a win, but you like to say things like, "I think the Cats can win, and it doesn't have to be close." Is that kind of what you're getting at a little bit there?
Yeah. I think there's gonna be. I enjoy kicking ass moment, and that's going to be Montana State as a whole. We're going to go out there. We're not just going to enjoy winning. We're going to enjoy kicking ass. That's what I'm predicting.
I like it. What do you think of their roster on offense? What do you think of the Vandal offense? I like Elisha Cummings a lot as a running back.
Yeah, he's a dude.
He's a dude, man. He's
slippery
shifty and
he's tough.
He's very tough. He's very elusive.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure
he has like good.
Real top end
good
speed,
balance,
but
a little bit of Fonte like, right?
Yep.
Good balance, like low to the ground, hard to take, like low pad level, hard to take him down.
Yeah, it's 5'8", 188, which is pretty, 5'8", 188. You're talking, he almost is like a little bit of like a Lorenzo Davis or something. If you want to think of like a Bobcat comp, maybe.
You get those guys who are that squatty, that powerful, whose lower body is just fully developed. That's hard, man. That's really hard. It's like the Boise State running back right now, who's like a Heisman hopeful. I can't really think of his name. But...
Gentry or whatever his name is. That guy's fun to watch, man. I watched a little bit of the highlights from his Utah State game. Like that guy's a beast.
Yeah, I'm not saying they're like on the same level.
Sure, but a similar comp, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like the FCS comp, I guess you could say. I don't want to say poor man's comp because but it's kind of a little bit what it is,
I think so. Their quarterbacks, let's talk about their quarterbacks a little bit. Jack Lane went out last year, or did not go out last year. He got his collarbone broke against Oregon, and he was their good dude. I didn't know much about him, but apparently he was QB1, and like he was going to tear it up. So he's still out. So then they put in Jack Wagner, who I think has a rocket of an arm. Very very cool customer. He gets hurt. They bring in their fourth string quarterback, Nick Josephak, and you would think a fourth string quarterback would be like kind of dog crap. He's not. He's really good. He can actually make plays. He can move the pocket. He can read defenses, not as well as Jack Lane can, but really good. Like, I don't know what Jason Eck does or who they recruit or how they find these guys, but doesn't seem to be a huge drop off. And whoever they put at quarterback. And so, tall task for the Bobcats. Tall task. So, I hope Brody Greavy feasts. I hope we have pressure all night long because I think that's what it's going to take to make these guys feel uncomfortable.
So who's going to be playing then on Saturday? Wagner or Joseph?
Sure of them. So last week they intentionally played both quarterbacks. Okay. So I think we're going to have a mixture. When I was talking to Mr. Crotcher today, he's more of a fan of Joseph Eck than Wagner.
I thought Wagner looked pretty good. I've seen him a few times. He's pretty mobile too.
Yeah, like
big kid with a big arm.
It's just like a conveyor belt of talent on quarterback for the Vandals. So good for them.
Yes, but also, what do they ask the quarterbacks to do?
Make plays?
Make plays.
Like sling it?
Yeah, but they don't score a ton of points, though.
Yeah, so last week, that was the weird thing. Let's click in the stats last week for Idaho.
I'm pulling up their season-to-date stats while you do that.
Over Northern Arizona. So they won 23-17 over the Lumberjacks last week. Let's go to box.
And they knocked Pennington, NAU starting quarterback out. So NAU was rocking their like freshman backup quarterback for like almost the entire second half in that game as well. Vandals only scored 3 points in the second half against NAU. Held on.
Yeah, that's wild. I didn't see that. So yeah, they only had 313 total yards of offense, which is, when you think of the recent Vandals, that's pretty low. They only passed for 124 yards, but they only had 13 attempts, 8 completions. They only rushed for 189. You might say only, Ryan. They touched the ball 42 times, and so 42 for 189 for an average of 4.5. I guess that's okay, but it just not the offensive production you would normally see from the Vandals.
Well, they don't have Giovanni McCoy or Hayden Hatton back there.
Yeah, right.
Like 2 absolute dudes. One's at Oregon State. The other had a cup of coffee in the NFL.
Yeah.
I think they're just not as explosive on offense. And of course, their webpage isn't loading, so I'm not getting their overall stats. But what I've seen from the Vandals is they're still like efficient in offense. They're just not explosive. And their running game is pretty good.
Let's see if you remember this a little bit. Let's talk about Coach Eck. The last time he was in Bobcat Stadium, on my recall, this might be wrong, but this is. Do you remember a Chase Vinatieri 31-yard touchdown run when he faked a field goal?
Yes, I
to
do.
go up 21 or to go up 31-21 with 2 minutes
Yep.
left. South Dakota State, 2017, Jeff Choate's second year, Chris Murray, Jabari Johnson. That was the only game Jabari Johnson really had a major impact, caught 2 touchdown passes that game. And yeah, that was a moment where Montana State, you could feel the momentum for Montana State saying, we're becoming a big time program. It was the first time I felt Jeff Choate, outside of a Cat Grizz game, felt like it's a big time program.
Mhm.
And I do remember Jason Neck, his swashbuckling self, just fist pumping, throwing like fists in the air as Vinatieri was running down the sideline, and everyone was like, no, what's going on? And then we went down and scored, and they blocked our PAT to make it a 4-point game. So, and then they won. That was the last time he was there.
Sounds about
And it was
right.
a night
yeah.
game too. It was a night game.
Yeah, that was an exciting game. I remember that game pretty well. All right, so I'm looking at the stats a little bit. Idaho is just 10th in the conference in scoring offense. They are 11th in total offense. They are 7th in rushing offense and 11th in passing offense. Even their offensive efficiency, I just said they look like an efficient offense. They're 10th in the ratings. So by the metrics, they're not particularly efficient on offense. Or I guess that's just passing efficiency. But I don't know. They are 9th in, or where am I? 10th in third down conversion percentage. By all accounts, just not a very good offense.
Yes, their defense this year, isn't it?
It's the defense. The defense is what they're hanging their hat on. And if we start looking at that, they're number 2 in scoring defense behind only your Montana State Bobcats, allowing just 19.8 yards per game. They have the number 4 overall defense when it comes to yardage. But their rushing defense is number 2 behind Sac State. Sac State's only given up 67.8 yards per game on the ground.
So their senior defensive end, Keyshawn James Newby, kid from Helena, has 8 sacks already.
Yeah, I don't know how that kid got out of Montana.
Right? I was just thinking it'd be nice if he was soon up for the Cats. I remember thinking about that kid last year. Oi, oi.
So where Idaho's had real problems on defense, though, is their passing defense. Is where they're most susceptible. They're 10th in the conference, 261 yards per game through the air.
It's good stats,
And you can see that a little bit when you're watching the NAU game. That's how NAU kind of got back in the game, was throwing the ball. So it's going to be important to soften up that defense by throwing the ball a little bit and taking advantage of maybe not an incredible passing defense by Idaho. I think we have to move the ball through the air a little bit. I mean, that's kind of how the Cats are going to beat any of the high-level teams, right? It's what we've talked about for years is you can't – are we dynamic? Are we multiple? Are we still too run heavy, and that's always the question we always have.
Do you expect Montana State to show a lot in this game that maybe we haven't seen?
I just expect us to be maybe a little bit more balanced in terms of passing than maybe you'd expect. I'm not sure we'll see a bunch of like new wrinkles or stuff. Maybe we will. We saw a lot against Northern Colorado, I thought.
I think we will.
I think there's
On the
more
flip side,
in the
Coach
bag.
Vegan talked about that. He's like, every team that we watch, they bring something different that we don't see. He's like, kind of said, we're a marked team. The defensive looks we're seeing are not always what we see on film.
Well, I'll tell you, Idaho, of all the teams last year, did not get fooled by anything the Cats did offensively. I think they're a disciplined team. I think they're gap sound and they don't bite. Like Northern Colorado is biting on everything. And that's what really killed them. I don't think Idaho's going to be biting on nearly as much stuff.
The fact that they've given up less than 20 points per game, less than 100 yards of rushing, something's going to break. Something has to come ahead.
Yeah, you would think. We'll go over 100.
I think whoever rushes the ball best in this game is going to win.
I'd almost say whoever has the time of possession.
I mean, we almost won last year with a third of what they had.
Yeah. I mean, it depends how explosive you are and all these kinds of things. Time of possession is a weird one, but I just feel like this game could be, you don't want to let Idaho have the ball for 40 minutes.
That won't happen this year.
No.
I mean, I would almost bet my mortgage on it. Field goals.
No.
We were
in Bozeman
last year.
It's in Bozeman.
Yeah. It's the fact that this game is in Bozeman. The revenge, everything. We just talked about it, man. This game is full tilt already. I think somebody who said it. I think it was Tommy. Tommy, Tommy, the most boring interview, the most canned answers all the time. I mean, he's the company man. Like, love Tommy. Terrible interview. He even said, this one's got the guy's attention. I'm not sure. I'm paraphrasing him, but he kind of let this slip. Is like, oh, there's something there that you could write about. That's just not straight Tommy speak. He's this game is important to the players.
There's a lot of guys
on a different level
that were here from last year that know about it. And we got a lot of seniors on the team, man. They don't want to go out like we did last year, losing to North Dakota State at home. They don't want to let that happen again. And to give yourself the best chance to go on to the national championship, you got to win all your regular season games and secure that top 2 seed.
Cost us conference championship last year too.
That's right. Yep, and we're in the driver's seat. So I think there's a lot of motivating factors for this Bobcat team for this game specifically, but for the whole season. But this one in particular, I think has some extra little juice. And I'm
going to pepper in a Golden Coolie question from Rivercat. Says last year's time of possession was 41-27 to 18-33 in the favor of the Vandals. Buy or sell this game? The Cats will possess the ball more than Idaho.
That's a really good question. I will buy it. I think the Cats will be like 32-28.
I'll buy that too.
I just don't think Idaho has those crazy 13-play, 8-minute drives all game long again. And I think the Cats don't go 3 and out a whole bunch of times. The Cats will go 3 and out. It'll happen. But we started off so miserably bad last year. The first 3 possessions were all 3 and outs. So I could see that. I could see that Cats doing a better job of sustaining drives and stopping Idaho from sustaining their drives. So yeah, I could see where the Cats have more TOP.
How are you feeling about this game, just in general, just right now?
I feel better talking through it right now than I did before we started recording.
Really?
I was
I've
nervous.
Been feeling pretty good all week long about it.
Yeah, you talked me into a little bit when you started talking about the external factors like the bright lights, ESPN2, the revenge factor, the at home, 8 p.m. kickoff in Bozeman. Like those are all things I love to hear. And I don't know. I feel pretty good. It's going to be a tough test. I imagine I wouldn't be surprised if it's a 1-score game, either direction. But I think the Cats. I'm feeling pretty good about this one. I think I'm confident in the Cats right now.
If we lose, does it derail the season?
No, not necessarily. We bought ourselves some grace with that New Mexico win.
Exactly.
That's such an important win because it means we can slip up. I mean, obviously, we don't want to slip up, but finishing 12-0, it's a tall task.
Speaking of finishing 12-0, there's a Golden Coolie question from Cat Attack. He says, I've argued all season the Cats can take care of business every week and finish 12-0. That's absolutely guarantees a 1 or 2 seeds. Others have argued that the Dakota States would end up 10-2 and still get a higher seed. Do either of you think this is actually possible?
What's possible? Finishing
Montana State goes 12-0 and does not get the 1 or 2 seed.
No.
If the Dakota States go 10-2.
12-0 gets the Cats the 1 or 2 seed.
Yeah.
I know it's weird right now that we're 6-0 in third place and have like the fewest first place votes, but we'll have beaten a lot of top 25 teams. Like we have beaten pretty much nobody right now. Like let's be real. Our resume is not great. We beat New Mexico, an FBS team. They're terrible. Other than that, a bunch of terrible FCS teams. If we win out, that'll change the narrative. That'll help us out a lot. And I can't envision a scenario where there's a 12-0 Power 2 conference team in the FCS. We have the Power 2 that finishes 12-0 with an FBS win against no one else that's 12-0 that doesn't get a 1 or 2 seed. I just can't envision that. But the Cats do seem to get the short end of the seeding stick a lot, so we'll see. I wouldn't be surprised if we get the 3 seed in that scenario, sadly. I'd be disappointed, but not surprised.
And then Montana's going to be like the 8th seed, and they will come to Bozeman the second week after. There'll be some double Cat Grace game. All right. Anyways.
That would be crazy.
Yeah, it's shaping up to be like that. Let's see.
Over and under on fake kicks by Idaho at 1.5.
Ooh, I'm going under.
That can be a punt or a field goal.
I mean, for them to do 2 fake kicks seems pretty high.
Pretty high.
I don't think that's going to happen.
Yeah, I'd probably go under too.
You probably would want to do like an over under on going for it on 4th down 4 times. 3.5 times.
3.5 is your. I'll go over on that.
For Idaho?
Yeah, I could see them going for 4th down 4 times. I could see that.
Okay. Yeah, I'll take the over. I think Jason Eck is going to all but sacrifice his son as the middle linebacker to win this game.
Yes, I agree with that. I agree. We're going to see a lot of stuff. Guarantee that almost everything they're going to do on offense or defense is going to be stuff that they haven't really done yet or that we were not expecting.
If Jason Eck had an option to knock 5 years off his life but win this game, he's going to take winning this game.
No, let's set the over and under on how many years Jason Eck would take off his life to win this game. I think 5's too high. I'll say like 2.5. Is it 3 years or is it 2 years? I don't think anybody makes that deal.
Okay, maybe that's a little bit pushing it. That's pushing it just a little bit.
Like a contract where you like literally, I will die a year sooner if I do this. I don't think anybody's doing hardly anything with that contract. It's a very.
Jason X signs off on 5. He's like, heck yeah, I'll take this wood.
Just shoves it and it's crumpled up in his drawer with all the other ones. He hasn't done the math to see how he's probably got like 3 years left to live.
Pink slips like stack high.
Oh man.
This IOUs 250 thou. You might want to hold on to that one.
Classic Riverboat gambler.
All right. There is one more Golden Coolie question. It comes from Colorado Cap. Buy or sell, no team will hold the Bobcats under 31 points during the regular season.
I'll sell that. I think we will go under 31 at some point.
Yes, I will sell that as well. And then he gives another one. Buy or sell. The Bobcats will have 5 players rush for over 500 yards this season, including playoffs.
Let me do some math. Let me go look at the stats.
Stats.
5 players?
So Humphrey's already there. Jones has got to be already
Jones
there.
will be there. Tommy will get there. I don't think Colson Kuhn and Jared White will get there. One of those two. They're already at 200, or they're already basically at 200 apiece, though.
Including playoffs.
This is 6 games, so we got 6 more games. So theoretically, could double those totals.
So let's say one of those guys gets hurt. Yeah?
Yeah, if one of those guys gets hurt, it's over. I don't know if it's possible.
Julius Davis is coming back, though.
Oh, yeah.
Does Elijah Elliott come back?
Davis will take away somebody's carries. And can Davis get to 500 in like 5 games? I'm not sure he can. I don't think he'll get enough carries to get there. So, yes, with the looming Julius Davis coming back, I'm going to say probably sell.
I'm going to buy.
I'm
going to buy just on the spirit of it.
Fair enough. I like that answer.
So I think the winner's got to be River Cat. Buy or sell. The Cats will possess the ball more than Idaho. I think that goes back to good old Ryan Foley saying at the very beginning of this season, that's the key to our success. So River Cat. Woo! Good job, buddy. Get a hold of me. I'll send you a golden cookie, a sticker, and maybe a magnet.
Love it.
Yeah, man. Send out the swag, dude. That's what we do.
It's what we do. Anything else we want to talk about with the Idaho Vandals?
Yeah. I really want to beat them so bad. I do. I can't stand those guys. I just got such a bad taste for the Vandals when I went to the Kibbe Dome last year.
Yeah.
Those fans were so obnoxious. And then that game was so bad to go to watch those guys possess a ball for 41 straight minutes and just kill us by these little paper cuts, time in and time out. And then watching our sideline just kind of decompose into frustration and fighting and yelling. It just seemed like it was a very bad moment for Montana State. So to me, I think why I want this one so bad is just for redemption. Like the narrative of we have turned the page. We fired our coordinators. We got new coordinators in. We have different leadership. I want this to be a landmark moment. Like kind of, I had a buy or sell for you, Thorny. This game is a pivot point, regardless of the outcome.
Well, we already talked about derail the season, so I kind of piggyback off that a little bit, and I'll kind of repeat that answer. No, it's not pivotal if we lose. I think it's pivotal if we win.
All right.
I think it's a split answer.
All right. Okay.
Pivotal. If we win, it'll show me that we have figured out whatever was ailing us last year in terms of chemistry or whatever was going on. That was kind of the intangible stuff. I think winning this will kind of prove that a little bit, and it'll also give us a win on our resume because people are saying the Cats haven't played anybody, so we kind of need that a little bit to kind of silence some of the doubters a little bit.
Fair. That's all I got, buddy.
All right. Good stuff. All right. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in. As always, if anybody is new to the podcast, appreciate you finding our little slice of Bobcat content out here. You can find us on the web, rrcatcast.com. You can find us on Twitter, rrcatcast, Instagram, rrcatcast. And you can find us on Bobcat Nation. I am Celtic Cat. He is Common Cat. Foley. That was a fun episode. Good stuff. Let's go. Let's go, Cats.
Go Cats.
Go Cats.